Welcome to Facts TV News, where everything is true. Two more suspects arrested in connection with murder of Chinese businessman. Two suspects have been arrested in connection with the recent fatal shooting of a Chinese businessman in Green Island, Hanover. Head of the Hanover Police Superintendent Sharon Bebo told reporters that the men will be questioned about the murder of a 36-year-old Chinese businessman. She says four other suspects held in the case were released after being questioned. The businessman was shot dead in front of his employees and customers in his supermarket on October 19. In the incident, which was captured on CCTV footage, of which has been circulating on social media, two armed thugs were seen entering the Orange Hill supermarket. They immediately opened fire on the businessman, shooting him multiple times. The men were seen stealing money, liquor and other items before exiting the supermarket. Violence among school children, a persistent problem facing society, says Grant. Retired Deputy Commissioner of Police Novelet Grant has identified violence among school-age children as one of the most pressing and persistent problems facing society. Drawing on her experience in the police force, she says students are at a greater risk of being exposed or involved in violence, which leads to negative behaviors. The presence of school-based gangs among teens has become almost routine. Those who drop out end up revisiting schools, influencing and harassing those in schools. She was addressing a social change initiative aimed at children and parents, launched Friday at Merton Seventh-day Adventist Church in Mayday, Mandeville. JLP chairman expresses confidence that the JLP will sweep local government election. Chairman of the Jamaica Labour Party, Robert Montague, indicated that the party is now making preparations for the holding of the local government elections early next year. Speaking at a party divisional conference in the Northwest St. Anne constituency last evening, Mr. Montague expressed confidence that the JLP will sweep the election despite the economic challenges facing the country when the local government election call we're gonna win every single parish. Local Government Minister Delroy Mackenzie, who also spoke at the meeting, touted the government's achievement in providing homes for the indigent and homeless persons since 2016. The administration of Prime Minister Andrew Holness has built over 150 social housing solutions for the poor and destitute. Investigators probing deadly attack at Pernal Charles Arcade. Gunmen struck in the Pernal Charles Arcade in downtown Kingston, leaving one man dead and another wounded. The deceased being identified as 31-year-old Sanjay Lewis of George's Lane, Kingston. About 2 p.m., Mr. Lewis was inside the arcade when he was attacked by armed men. He was shot and was later pronounced dead at hospital. It was later discovered that a second person was wounded during the incident. Justice Minister warns tougher legislation to tackle the crime wave. Justice Minister Delroy Chuck is warning that the government is prepared to introduce even tougher legislation to tackle the crime wave. Addressing justices of the peace at the St. Gabriel's Anglican Church Hall in Clarendon on the weekend, the Justice Minister said persons convicted of serious crimes must be imprisoned for life. He says the type of violence being experienced in Jamaica is unacceptable and has vowed that the government will be tougher on those involved in gang activities and violent crimes. Every serious crime should have life imprisonment with a minimum of 15 years, and that is what this government is determined, that persons who want to be enemies of our society, they must end up in prison and spend a long time there. The Justice Minister is urging members of the public to alert the police to migrated criminals in their communities. He is also calling for families to stop giving support and shelter to their relatives who are involved in criminal activities. In that regard, Mr. Chuck is warning those relatives that are putting themselves and their children in danger by doing so. If communities were willing to expose the criminals and where these guns are, we can control it. Bad roads, the biggest headache for MPs, says Carisha Morrison. Member of Parliament for St. Catharines North East, the Jamaica Labour Party's Carisha Morrison has described the bad roads as the biggest source of headaches for MPs. Morrison made the comment during her written contribution to the State of Constituency debate in the House of Representatives. Her comment also came in the midst of mounting roadblocks being staged in several parts of the country over the poor state of the nation's roads. During her presentation, Morrison urged the Minister of Finance, Dr. Nigel Clark, to increase the allocation for Proctola Road. Enable our councillors to take on even one road each year, she pleaded to Clark while arguing that community roads are the Wi-Fi to connect people. Pointing out that St. Catherine Northeast has been neglected for a long time, Morrison said a new day has come. She told the House that since being elected MP in September 2020, work has been taking place on the Guy Hill Main Road, Riversdale throughout Williamsfield, and Williamsfield to Mount Industry. She said the long-awaited Trojan Main Road and York Street have been put to tender. We're anticipating that works on the heavily trafficked Trafalgar Road will begin soon, she said. But despite her optimism, Morrison lamented that the work has taken place in day barely scratches the surface of the magnitude of work that is needed in the larger farming constituency. I am lobbying for the Cassava River to Glengorf Road and equally so the big community of Treadways. The Cheesefield community is desperate for better roads, but I have encouraged constituents to be patient as the community rehabilitate announced by Minister Desmond McKenzie will be worth the wait, she said. The first-term MP made a special plea for councillors, pointing out that 90% of constituents live on roads that fall under the purview of the municipal corporations. She argued that whether the roads are called parochial, parish council, or community roads, constituents don't care about that, which road is MP road and which road is councillor road. And I am certainly do not make this distinction when confronted by the people's state of the road, said Morrison. She said the reality is that councillors do not get sufficient resources to reasonably fix these roads. Some of these roads, for example, Bonnet Road, Moorland Road, Middlesex Road, and Berkshire Hall Road, will take significant funds to repair. The provision, which varies in each municipality, is not enough to allow a council to repair a road in his division, she noted. Morrison said that few who manage to do so either lobby for a relevant minister who does not have inexhaustible funds or that can save their allocation, so over a 3-year period, they may be able to put $5 million on the road and as far as costs go to rehabilitate a road, that at best is patching program. Morrison pointed out that as a result, a parish council division, which may have 20 or more community roads, like her Guys Hill division, may have get the attention it needs because of inadequate fund. She said she has been able to do only 2 parochial roads since being elected MP, and this was from her Christmas allocation. When constituents are angry with their representative, it is often about the state of the road, Morrison stated. Remove the terrorist. President of the Private Sector Organization of Jamaica, PSOJ, Keith Duncan, has called for strong security measures to remove criminals who he called terrorists from the nation's streets. We need enhanced security measures because we need to focus on the violent producers who are behaving like terrorists. We need to take them off the streets. The SOE's states of emergency were a little bit of a wide net kind of thing. It was more net fishing, and we need more spear fishing to nab these local criminals, Duncan said. The PSOJ boss was delivering the keynote address at the Jamaica Hotel and Tourism Association's 60th anniversary gala dinner at Hilton Rose Hall Resort and Spa Saturday night. We have to have short-term measures that we put in place, said Duncan, who stated that Security Minister Dr. Harry Strong and Police Commissioner Major General Anthony Anderson have been doing their best, but we have more work to do. So whatever adjustments need to make to get these enhanced security measures in place, we need to get that done, and these are 2 deliverables under the Consensus Monitoring Oversight Committee, along with ensuring that our security forces have all the resources they need, Duncan said. In the meantime, he was optimistic that the new Firearms and Bail Acts will help to solve some of the country's crime problems. We have to complete work on the Firearms Act because if you don't have the crime, you can't do the time, Duncan said. People, he said, are arrested for serious crimes and within days are out on the streets on bail. We have to work on those things, the PSOJ president said. He added that more people who have come into overnight world need to explain where they get the money from. You need to explain or you're going to prison. Duncan stated, the vibes of our people uniquely position us as a cultural spirit state of the world. However, we have not optimized our natural resources to make us a peaceful and prosperous society. To maintain and grow our economy in a sustainable way, we always have to ensure that we pay attention to what's going on with our social outcomes because it is not sustainable otherwise, he stated. Jamaica has been in a crime epidemic for the last 20 years or 30 years, and this is based on all that is happening. So we have a responsibility as a people to turn this thing around because we're doing well on the macroeconomic stability, said Duncan. With tourism and the economy growing, it is time to fix the social side, he added. We have to work on the human capital side. Let's work on this otherwise, and we're all living in a place of fear due to crime, Duncan stated. Let us put some solutions to that table. We have our Education Transformation Oversight Committee in place, chaired by Dr. Adrian Stokes, a vice president of PSOG, but we need to hear more. We need to see this getting done. We need to see these deliverables happening. The recommendations are there. Edward Sioka has said, this for the last how many years? Early childhood education is the key. Let's get it done, because it's a foundation weak. How are we going to be strong? Said the PSOG president. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, and click the